welcome to the Lebanon Leprechaun Show. I'm Dave Peach, and this is our final show of the season. It has been quite the season. The Leprechauns are 18-4, headed to the playoffs, potentially the top seed in the Midwest Division. And we want to thank, we got Hunter Bodie coming up, but we do want to thank our sponsor, FTIC, and they are happy to support the Lebanon Leprechauns and happy to support the Western Boone Radio TV department here. And we want to thank everybody at FTIC in Jamestown. And you know, they're a stamping and robotic welding manufacturer, and they have been our main sponsor all year, and we thank them for that. You can find out more at fticna.com. So a big thank you to FTIC, our sponsor. And you know, we're 22 games into the season. 18-4 is the record. That is pretty good. We still got a little bit of, you know, we have some things to accomplish as far as a season-ending game at St. Louis that could decide the number one seed. We'll see how that all works out. But Hunter Bodie joins us, and Hunter, first off, thanks for the cross. Give me the story of the cross that you handed me.
Yeah, it's I got a box full of these really cool crosses. They're not perfectly shaped, but they are handcrafted by Christians who are living in Bethlehem right now. And obviously Bethlehem has a lot of substantial impact for the Christian faith. And I say God put it into my lap. I just randomly acquired them. And ever since then, when I met somebody or know somebody who shares the faith, somebody who's not, I pass it on to them to let them know. Not only is it a cross that they can hold, because sometimes God feels far away and we need to have a physical representation. But not only that, but it came from the town where he was born.
Fisher of men on the hat there, and that's what you are.
Try to be. Best that I can.
And I said you're an inspiration. You are. Through Christ, you're an inspiration. And I know Coach Fagan's, you know, Coriante DeBerry, really many of the individuals on the Lebanon Leprechauns are strong Christians you meet. Tell us about, you know, and again, before we end our year here, tell us about the Bible study that takes place. When does that take place? How many attend? And what are some things that you have benefited from on that?
Truly, firstly, I would say I've never had a team that has been this organized and willing to come together for something that even some of us, we don't have the strongest relationship with. Everybody joins in. So it's either before or after practice, typically the first practice of the week after a game, which would be Monday, but now we're pushing it for Thursday, the day before the game. Everybody on the team is there. We also have some people who are part of the organization but still come to them. Almost every week we have a guest speaker, which is rare. Not just a Bible study where we all just come in and open up the Bibles and talk about what we're talking about, which is good, but we have structure, meaning that we have a guest come in and speak to us his personal testimony and what has God done for them. And ultimately, I think it's a small example of self-sacrifice for everybody on the team. I can't tell you what everyone's thinking if they enjoy being in that every single time, but just physically seeing the willingness for them to be there in the room. And we've actually had some days where we missed some of our practice because of how good that conversation was, because ultimately basketball will end. The most important thing is the foundation of our faith.
That is fantastic. This is a special team. You know, I was there for the first year of the Lebanon Leprechauns, and we made the playoffs. It was a great team. You know, this team, you know, you hate to compare, but I know that this team is a little deeper as far as basketball goes, and maybe a little bit better connected than that team was in year one. I love that first year team. I love all the teams, but this year there's something special going on, and as we get to the point that we've got 2 games left, what's the mindset of the team with these 2 games and, you know, with an eye on the playoffs in a week or so?
I'll speak personally first, and I think my personal observation could speak for the rest. I hear the word playoffs, but I just think about practice tomorrow. And the fact that we have reached playoffs doesn't really change much for us because what we're doing is working, obviously, and our practices are very intense. Coming up to these last 2 games, I think the healthiest thing we can do is not change a thing. I think, if anything, increase our intensity and our willingness to work with each other and trust each other. But there's no X's and O's. I don't think there's anything that we could do differently except for just be mentally prepared. Obviously, if you look at the NBA playoffs, you see referees not making as many calls. They'll let them play a little bit more physical, which I kind of hope that's what playoffs will be for us. But I think what we're doing is good, and I don't think there's much that we necessarily need to change, because if it ain't broke, you ain't got to fix it.
You kind of typify what this team is all about. There was a game where you played less than 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I deal in facts. Okay, however, whatever happened, it happened. But
Yeah.
I deal in facts. Next game you come out, you play 24 minutes, 23 minutes. This team is such a team that I would imagine that it's all for the win, it's all for the good of the team. On that day, for the team, it was less than 2 minutes for you as a starter and all that. But the next game you come back, and I've seen with other players, sometimes the minutes will vary, but I just get the vibe that this team is dialed in with a good attitude all the way around.
Yeah, if you're a basketball player, you know exactly what I'm talking about. After every game, you go back to wherever you're staying at, and if you have teammates there, you might stay up and talk about the game until 3 a.m. This is the first time in my entire life where everybody will complain about playing time. Even if you got 40 minutes, if you got 3 minutes, all of us want to play the entire game. This is the first time in my entire life where I've complained about not getting my playing time, but after each time I said that, I said, but we are winning. Mm-hmm. But we are winning. So again, about the Bible study, small self-sacrifices, willingness to, okay, I don't understand the plan right now, either coach, God, whoever, I don't understand the plan, but I'm trusting right now. And it's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to do, especially, Coach says it all the time, we have 12 players that could play 48 minutes. If you take one player out of our team who's from the bench, starter, whatever, they would be a starter on the other team. It does not matter. So it's very odd. It's an incredible learning lesson for me personally that I could be playing 23 minutes one game, then playing 10 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 30 minutes. But just to know that even in my position, there's 4 people who play my position that can play a position above or a position below as well too. And we're all fantastic and all different in our own ways. So not only can another team, you can't scout us because you'd have to scout every single player. But for us personally, I think it's definitely a mental growth of being able to say less of me and more of you.
A couple more questions. Playing in Lebanon this season and seeing the support that the city gives the team, that has to be something that, I don't want to say that we impressed you in Lebanon, but you have to be happy with the support that the team gets.
It's going to the grocery store, at the gas station, especially if I'm wearing this, I'll see kids, Mom, Dad, look, as I'm passing by, or those sort of things. I feel like a superstar.
Yep.
It's rare. I think it is rare. If you're on an NBA team, you'll naturally have a bunch of people who want to be around you. And the TBL doesn't mean that we can't get to that at some point, but it's a little bit more of a struggle to have a community. Oh, what's the Lebanon Leprechauns? I've had those conversations too, never heard of you guys, but conversations of the people that have been around, it almost seems like a facade how much they love us. I haven't seen so much love for a team like this that I even have to go, man, I didn't realize the impact that we've been having on this community. But for me personally, I see myself maybe even staying here after the season, how much I love the town. Not just because of the basketball, but the people included. I don't see myself moving anywhere anytime soon, so I personally have fallen in love with the city.
And it's kind of a circular thing. you want to win a championship for the city who is supporting you, and it just kind of goes around, and you want to make them happy.
It's a circular system that continues to work together. So,
very good. And what do you think of this new TV back here?
Man, I think if Kayvon Bay was here, he'd be going crazy with his Xbox or PlayStation. But no, that's incredible. I do like it. It's a
the bulletin
it's
board
large.
thing is really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
That is. They do it right here at Western Boone High School. I know Mr. Foxworthy is happy with that. Again, Hunter, we're going to see you on Friday. We'll be watching on Sunday. Wrap up the season in style, and we'll see you May 31st at 6 o'clock for a playoff game at the Farmers Bank Fieldhouse.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's Hunter Bodie. Lebanon Leprechaun Show presented by FTIC. And don't you dare go away. Chris Canal has some exciting things in store for you next on the Lebanon Leprechaun Show.
Well, I asked Dave if I could be the final guest for the podcast. And first, I want to thank Matt Foxworthy, WBTV, Western Boone Schools. This is our second year doing it. I mean, I can't imagine there's a better high school media TV department than these guys, so it's been great. But I prepared some questions to ask Dave, so we're gonna.
This is Chris Canal, the TMO of the Lebanon Leprechaun.
So this is my second year with the team. The team's been around 5 years, and Dave, you've been here since the beginning. So, my first question would be, how in the world did you get connected? We know that you are the voice of Crawfordsville, Indiana. You're also the voice at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. But how did Lebanon and how did this happen?
Well, a mutual friend at the time, Dr. Alex Kaur, was working in Lebanon, and he was he found out about the Lebanon Leprechauns and helped him out, or was agreed to help out a little bit in the training. He's a podiatrist, and he introduced me to Preston Myers, and I talked to Preston, and the rest, as they say, is history. We met at a coffee shop, and he asked me to do the games, and I didn't know really what to expect as far as professional basketball at this level, and the first game, as you know, was amazing. And like with many things, when you go back to Butler in '86, they asked me to do the public address, and here it is in 2026. So,
well, that was kind of my next question, talking a little bit about Butler, but you mentioned professional basketball. I know when I came on board, I had the advantage of having watched for 3 years, and it can be intimidating, professional basketball. But Hunter, who was our guest before, would tell you the same thing. It all goes back to the fundamentals. Even though these are professional athletes, very good athletes playing at a very high level, it's still the game of basketball. It's still the fundamentals. So just no different than announcing. It's just it's all about the fundamentals. But when you first took the microphone at Hinkle Fieldhouse in 1986, in that first game, what were the nerves like? Because it wasn't like you were at the Fieldhouse, and nothing against Lebanon in the Fieldhouse, but you were at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
well, let me just tell you this. Public address announcing is 10 times more nerve-wracking than play-by-play for me, because it's there, and you're the only person there. I always say, Chris, I'm glad you asked that question. Have you ever watched Mexican cliff diving?
I've seen cliff diving.
You've
but
seen
I don't
cliff
know
diving.
yeah, okay.
Okay. PA is like Mexican cliff diving. You don't want to make a mistake. You know what I mean? You don't, because you don't want to hit one of those rocks.
Yeah.
If you're play-by-play, like we're doing the game, and I say, hey, it's Hank Bodie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the color person we'd kind of laugh about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like, oh, Hank, I don't know what I was thinking of Hank Bodie. I know it's Hunter Bodie. But in PA, you don't get that chance. You live with that mistake. You call a guy Stephen Bishop instead of, I forget what his name is. But anyway, you live with it,
Yeah.
and people in the stands will tell you about it.
From now on, when I'm at Hinkle Fieldhouse at a Butler game and I see you across the court at half court, I'm thinking cliff diving.
Cliff diving, that's right.
I'll see you in your
we've
swimsuit. So you mentioned the first year we had a nice team.
I'm trying to entertain here, Chris. I'm sorry.
Other than
I'm
and everyone around Lebanon remembers the first game, a win at home, buzzer beater. I think Ronnie Boy said a buzzer beater. Other than that moment, is there a moment or two, what stands out, a play or a moment in the course of the 5 years that stands out to you?
You know, there's a couple plays, and I can't remember exactly, but what happened, and Hunter's a good shot blocker, and one of the players blocked a shot, and at that point we had a rainbow in the corner, and he hit the rainbow, and it's like, I can't remember who blocked the shot, but I said, he sent it to the rainbow.
That's gold. Solid
that was gold. That was gold. You know, like announcing gold. And then there was Ronnie Boyce the first year. He had an assist sitting down. It was one of those plays where he fell on the court. He's sitting down like this. He's got the ball, and he hit Thompson, and he made an assist. You know, sitting on his behind, and you know, I remember those two plays. And then Ronnie actually hit a 3 against Medora that was a pivotal shot in that game. And you know, just it really just the excitement of professional basketball with a 24-second shot clock. You know, that's enough. But there are some of those plays that, you know, and we've had several of them this year that have been amazing.
And I think it's rewarding in the 5th year. You talked about, you know, Boyce, but you talked about Josh Thompson, Antonio Davis, these people that had been part of the program, watching them comment on social media or liking things. It's really fun as we've built out that player roster. You know, one more thing about kind of the players. After the games, you like to interview players and coaches. And I think that's a really nice piece of our broadcast. I always look forward to seeing who you bring to the table. You know, obviously outside of Hunter, who's a great interview. You know, who have been some of the guys or coaches or just personalities that, whether it be after the game or whenever you're talking to, that you just really look forward to what they're going to have to say?
Well, I always love Coach Fagan's after a win. He is so excited. You could just feel the energy from him. He's so relieved with a win. He's so excited. He's just a genuine human being that I always love to talk to. Hawk he's just so smooth, you know, when you talk to him. It's almost like you're talking to a superstar, which I guess in effect you are. He's very smooth. Cush is like Hunter, a strong Christian, always thanks Jesus after a game, his Lord and personal Savior. Love talking to him. You know, even some of the more quiet players are fun to talk to. Chris Brand is a hoot. Just to stand next to him, or sit next to him. It's like he's been around the world and then some. He's fun to talk to, and Coriante DeBerry. I say with Coriante, I'm glad he's on our side.
That's why he's here this year.
That's right, and it was good to see him. You know, play for us in the TBT, and good to see him on roster. But you know, all the players are fantastic. GM John Benson, Tim Hurd. You know, Tim is, how can I say it? He's kind of like Luther on Coach, if you remember that show. You know.
I do remember that show. And he is
He's the old ball coach, right?
He is a favorite. And you talk about the guy that gets probably the most excited is Hawk with Coach Hurd. I mean, it is they can give him a hard time too. But yeah, you kind of brought up is we're 12 deep, and I wrote down a note while Hunter was talking, and just kind of to land the plane is I think you know, obviously high character guys were winning games, but last night I didn't get to practice until it was pretty much done. It was towards the end of practice. And I walk in, and it is very competitive. When we were at Toledo, the announcers made a comment about how that night we had like 96 bench points, and they kept going on and said, I bet their practices are fun to watch. Our practices are probably more intense than the games, but they genuinely like competing against one another. And all the different personalities. So from an interview standpoint, if you can get a good nugget out of Kayvon Bay, you've done a good job in an interview. Some guys like Hawk, they're going just on autopilot. So it's been a fun group. But I guess all season long, last night at practice, we have 12 guys there working hard, trying to achieve the goal. And to Hunter's point, it is a little bit of a snapshot of life. Sometimes you got to sacrifice to get what you want. And the guys are sacrificing things. They're sacrificing their time and sometimes playing time to help us achieve. So thank you. Appreciate you answering the questions. We'll go ahead and
Was that it? Was that it?
Well, that's pretty much it. Funny thing is, you have guys from
Nervous laughter, I'm sorry.
Where were you born? Are you a Lifetime officer?
No. I was born in Washington, Indiana. We moved to Columbus, Indiana, and grew up watching high school basketball live at Memorial Gym. And that was one of the fun things when I started this job, helping out with the Leprechauns. I went to Memorial Gym in Kokomo, and it's basically the same thing, only like 2,000 less seats. So it was really like going home. So that was kind of a cool thing to watch us on the road there at Memorial Gym. But just grew up watching basketball.
Well, that answers the question. You're a Hoosier, Washington, the Hatchet House, to
That's
Columbus,
right.
to here in Lebanon. So that explains your love of basketball. So, no, I will hand over.
You're going to hand over the intercard?
And,
Is it facing the right way?
Hopefully the fans, after 5 years of you asking all the questions, got a little bit of insight into kind of what makes you tick. So thanks for being a good sport.
Well, it's such a pleasure to call the games, and particularly this year when we're winning. But it's always been fun. Always been fun to take the air and to talk to the fans and interact with the fans before the game and after the game and get their feedback. And we've just had such a great time. Thank you for.
Well, you're part of the success and you're part of the culture, and we appreciate you.
Well, again, we want to thank our sponsor, FTIC. Find out more at FTICNA.com. I want to thank Chris Canal for asking easy questions. Appreciate that. And we thank Hunter Bodie for his impact on our community and his impact on our basketball team. And I want to thank Matt Foxworthy getting us on the air once again. And again, thank you to everybody here at Western Boone. Congratulations on the new big screen. And again, on Friday night, it is Grove City, 7 o'clock at the Farmers Bank Fieldhouse. We'll have that broadcast on WCDQ and then be watching on TBL TV for the key matchup against St. Louis on Sunday. This is the Lebanon Leprechaun Show. I'm Dave Peach. Have a great day.